love money, money loves me. I love money, money loves me. I love money, money loves me. 1, 2, 3, do the math. I love money, money loves me. I love money, money loves me. I love money, money loves me. 1, 2, 3, do the math.
Hi everybody and welcome again to Business Brain. This is the Grand Gorda Papa Lifestyle channel and Business Brain is my business mastermind group. This is where I get to talk about all things business. I just did an uber long introduction, which I may choose not to. I'm trying something new here. But today, I'm basically going to talk about from begging to attraction. And what I'm going to basically do is make a comparison between dating and between business. The reason I'm going to do this, I'll do this much quicker this time, is because many years ago, I was introduced to a book called The Game by Strauss, by someone who's basically trying to tell me that the same, I was introduced to that book and the pickup community that it associated itself with, by someone who's basically trying to tell me that the same skills or same tricks or techniques you could use to pick up women are exactly the same skills and tricks and techniques that you would use in order to sell. And at that time, I was really trying to improve myself as a salesman. So that was, what I thought was a gap in my skills. And I really wanted some help with that. And basically this book was given to me and it resonated with me. So let's talk about going from begging to attraction, and let's make comparisons between dating and business. Right. So let's get going. Begging for dates versus having women being attracted to you is the whole point of the pickup community, really. And as I've said before, as you move away from, and I'm not dissing him because I think the guy is a genius, but as you move away from what Strauss discovered in the book, The Game, the mystery method and those kind of guys, which are really to do with tricks and tips and short-term fixes, towards your David D'Angelo's and what I've been watching more recently, the alpha male strategies, which are more about being the thing that you're trying to trick, tip, and convince people you are. So rather than faking it before you making it, actually making it, and then getting the same result, but longer term, I think that's really what it's about. So begging for business is exactly the same. I use that term, fake it before you make it. I learned that from Russ Whitney when I was doing my property investment course. I was studying property investment, and, he said, fake it before you make it. And I like that term, and it's been, bounded around for a long time. But again, what you want to aim to do is to make it. So maybe if you don't have the experience and the confidence and the skills at the beginning, you might have to pretend that you do have those. But at the end of the day, what you really want to do is not stay in that place where you can convince people you have those things in the short term, but become that thing. So, what happens is you have to get to that same point with both. But I really want to talk about begging versus attraction. Because as I said, the whole point of what I just said is that you want to move from begging to actually asking someone for something and begging them, pleading for them to do it or give it to you, to actually having it being attracted to you and people coming towards you and wanting to give it to you, wanting to let you have it. So let's get started right from the beginning. Nobody gets a girlfriend by begging. Now, I know I said no, but that's a very broad term. Of course, some people get a girlfriend by begging. If you want to go on a date and there's a girl you like and you're begging her, please go out with me, please go out with me, please go out with me. She might go out with you out of sympathy, just to stop you whining. Maybe even if you're lucky, just to give you a try. But what will happen is she'll go out with you and then you'll get ghosted. Now, also, if you're talking about sex, if it's 21st century, so a lot of people ain't even dating anymore. You could be begging a girl for sex, but at the end of the day, if you're successful, what you're getting is a sympathy fuck. And again, that's something that she's going to do again, so that won't last. Now, I never forget a story that a good friend of mine told me about a friend of his, and he was in the friend zone, so he was begging this girl to go out, begging this girl to sleep with him. And he was getting nowhere. So one day he was with her. Now that's why I said he was in the friend zone, because he was in the circumstance where he had the opportunity to be around her a lot. And my friend said that he ran out of every single option he could possibly think of. So he burst out crying. And he started crying, and she's like, "Oh my God, what's the matter? Are you okay? Why are you crying?" He goes, I'm crying. I don't know what else to do. I just don't know what else to do. I like you so much, and you just won't sleep with me. So she slept with him. Now, the guy who told me that story, man, is a real dude. One of the guys I hold in so much respect. So I'm sure that he wasn't lying. And I don't think his friend was lying too. That can happen. But that is the definition of a sympathy fuck. And the worst thing about that is he might feel very clever. Because, I mean, apparently, when he told the guy, now these were crocodile tears. He wasn't crying because he was that distraught. He was like, I ran out of all options. I'm going to cry. And I'm going to make her feel so bad for me that she'll be like, all right, I may as well. All right, I may as well just do it. I don't know if every woman sees her body that way, but that's what happened in this instance. The problem with that is he might have been, and he was boasting about it. He thought he was a very clever guy. The problem with that is that, okay, you get what you want, but they're doing it for all the wrong reasons. And it's exactly the same thing as in business. You know, you can go around and beg people for business, your mom, your dad, your auntie, your uncle, strangers, people you don't know very well. The problem you're going to have is, you know, there's a guy out here as well who told me, you know, again, he was talking about dating. And he said, you know, always ask. He goes, ask 1,000 people, one might say yes. Or actually he said, ask 1,000 people, one will say yes. You're right. If you begged everybody you know, somebody will give you some money, maybe for business, maybe even a decent amount of money. But again, they're giving it to you for all the wrong reasons. They're giving it to you because you're bothering them, you're pressuring them, you're hassling them, you're harassing them, and they just want you to go away. It might sound crazy, but some people, it's more useful for them to have you stop harassing them and annoying them than it is for them to actually, you know, have that money sat in their bank account doing nothing, especially if they're, you know, if they're moneyed. So they'll do it just to get rid of you. All the wrong reasons. And here's the other thing. It won't last. So going back to the dating, if you're talking about you just beg this girl to go out with you or to have sex with you, unless you take her to the moon and back when she sleeps with you, she definitely ain't doing that again. So you could get your sympathy fuck once, you get her to sleep with you once, but unless you take her to the moon and back where she's like, damn, I didn't know that this was under my nose all the time, that ain't happening again. And then exactly the same thing in business. If you beg someone and beg them and harass them and cajole them to lend you money, unless you offer them a 10% return on their money in 12 months, and you come back with a 20% return on their money in 6 months, they won't lend you money again. So it's a very short-term strategy. Begging does not work. Begging just does not work. And the problem is, begging is what so many people are doing, whether they know it or not. Now, this is where me and the pickup community comes in, because fun enough, I said when I started this podcast, you know, I've been writing a book. I've been writing a couple of books into my head for years. One of them I've always wanted to write since I was a very young guy, probably going back to about 11 or 12, because I was so conflicted in this area, was about relationships. So I've always had, you know, this thing about amassing information about relationships and how relationships work and dating and love and you know, all this kind of stuff. I've always had this. So I wasn't aware at the time that in all my relationships, in all my non-platonic relationships, and all the relationships I was trying to create or engender, I was begging. So many people are doing this thing. They're begging and they don't know they're doing it. They're begging unconsciously, and that is the problem. So here's the thing. Why do you beg? Very simple start, because you're insecure. The reason you're begging is because you're insecure. Now, let me give you an example, going back to what I was talking about, my young adulthood and my teenage. I was very insecure because I was convinced that everybody was better than me. I grew up a very insecure kid, and I was convinced that everyone was better than me. I was convinced that everyone was better looking than me. I was convinced that everyone was better at sports than me. I was convinced that everybody was cooler than me, although that one probably was true. And I was convinced that everybody was funnier than me. Now, the funny thing about it, I'll tell you why I had that thought, because I went to, like, you know, a ghetto school. I sometimes try to mince words, but sometimes there are no better words, right? I went to a ghetto school. So having gone to a ghetto school, it was a kind of tough school. And the first thing that happened is you had the bad man's den. Now, the bad man's den was like, you know, well, I guess now they'll call them the gangsters, but they were the guys who were tough. They were the guys who could fight. A lot of them had family, older brothers who were involved in crime on a low level, some involved in crime on quite a high level. You know, so that was the bad man's den. And so that was the firm. They ruled the school. And, you know, you had to be accepted as one of them to be one of them. Me, Not a chance. Not a chance. Not even. I think I had a consideration. I'll probably tell that story another day. I don't want to get into that. But I had my audition. It lasted about 10 minutes, and that was the end of that. The other side of it was, now again, I was around a lot of very athletic and sporty guys. So, I was a chubby kid. So again, I'm thinking, oh man, I'm not like these guys. These guys are cool. They're either connected, or they're bad men. They're tough. They can fight, or they're good at sports. But here's the dumb thing. I'd convinced myself that I was no good at sports and I wasn't athletic. Now, yeah, I was the chubby kid. Let's make no mistake about that. But somehow, in the first 2 years of my schooling, secondary schooling, I got into both the football team. If you listen in America, that's what we call soccer, and the cricket team. And if you're listening anywhere else outside of England or Caribbean, you probably have no idea what the hell that is. But the thing is, I managed to get into both of those teams. Now, what that tells me is that obviously I wasn't as unsporting as I thought I was. Somehow, the teachers who ran those two teams, who had us competing against other schools and wanted to win, we had a reputation of being winners at our school, actually thought that there was a place for me in both of those teams. As I look back on it, I know why. I see it now. But at the time, I didn't see it, and I had no confidence. And, other people didn't see it either. So other people were kind of putting me down. Oh, you shouldn't be in that team. I remember there was particularly one guy who was an absolute football fanatic. And he really wanted to make the team. He didn't make the team. And I did. And he was always going to me, you shouldn't be in that team. Or his friends was going to me, you shouldn't be in that team. He should be in that team. He's much better player than you. And all that kind of stuff. But I just wasn't aware that actually I was good at some of this stuff that, I didn't think I was. Now, with regard to football, with regards to cricket, this is a conversation I've had with a lot of people. I know it makes some people mad, but let me explain cricket to you if you're not really familiar with it, or if you are familiar with it, then you know that this is the truth. If you're talking about test cricket, which can run on for days, if not weeks, and you're fielding, talking about being athletic and fit, if you're fielding and you're at the outfield, man, you can take a picnic, a little mini refrigerator, and a pack of 12 beers and sit out there and just lie down and picnic. You don't have to be fit. This ain't like running track 100 meters or even marathons. And this ain't like playing basketball where you are constantly moving. And if you ain't got the ball, you're still blocking other people. Like I see my kids both play basketball. And I've learned how much work goes into just blocking and defending while you're trying to get your guy to the net. Cricket ain't that. You could be fielding, dude. You could be out there. I mean, thank God mobile phones didn't exist, because I know people be out there on their mobile phones. They'll be flicking through the Insta. Cricket ain't that. But no matter what, the teacher still thought I had some skills or something to bring a team. Now, I'm from the Caribbean background. The cricket team was the West Indies. The West Indian cricket team ruled cricket internationally from the 70s through to maybe the late 80s, early 90s. So we were expected to be the best as a 90% Caribbean school. And I made that team. And yet I'm there thinking that I'm no good and I'm not worthy. And this is a real prime example of, what you see so much in the movies. I see this so much in the movies where you've got the geek and, you've got the jocks. And the jock's girlfriend in some of these movies always is nice to the geek. And you kind of really see, well, hey, she's really nice to this guy. She really fancies him. I think you've seen this a couple of times, maybe in Spider-Man movies, But the jock's always there swagging around, and he's got his crew who are also jocks, and they're rude to people, and they kind of, pull practical jokes on people, and they're, horrible. And then there's a geek and a horrible to the geek, and the jock's girlfriend goes and picks up his, books and gives him back his glasses and goes, "You okay?" And gives him that little wry smile, and then the guy goes, "Hey, Julie, come on. We're going to Pops for some alcohol, and we're going to Pops for some burgers and shit." And she could have run off again. But the jock's girlfriend always likes the geek. And what I didn't understand, now I'm gonna say real quickly, is that is probably the only thing represented in TV or movies that I agree with. 99% of, we're talking about these books I want to write on relationships. 99% of what's being represented in these movies is utter bullshit. I'm going to do a whole podcast on that, and I will write that book one day. The best example of it I could ever give you is there was a TV program which I absolutely adored, a comedy called Dream On, like a kind of adult comedy around the time of the end of Cheers and before Frasier. And I think they nailed it, that, you watch this stuff coming out of the box, and if you believe the shit it's telling you about relationships, you're screwed. But I'm off topic. This is about comparing business and relationships. The point I'm making is that in those movies and those scenarios, which I think that case is true, It's not pity. They always kind of present it as it's pity. It's not actually pity. The reason she likes the geek is because of all the things he's good at that the jock isn't. That's what she likes. So, it is a genuine attraction. Sure, she likes the jock for all the things he's good at and what he's known for and the reputation and the social proof and the status he brings. But she likes the geek for all the other reasons. All the things that the jock isn't good at, all the things that the jock lacks that he actually has. And those are the things that she finds interested in him. And those are the reasons why she genuinely would have a non-platonic interest in him. So here's the point. Going from begging to attraction, this is still a business podcast, whether you believe it or not. Make a list of everything you're good at. I'll keep looking at the microphone, now I'm looking at the camera. Make a list of everything you're good at. All of your attributes and all of your successes. This is super important. I do an Anthony Robbins program at least once a year, and this is part of it. It always comes up. Whether it's Personal Power 2 or Get the Edge, are the two ones I use the most. This always comes up. I do it every single year, sometimes twice a year. It never ceases to amaze me as to how powerful it is. It ain't like I don't know. I don't just do the stuff that I've become good at in the last 6 months or the last year since I last did the program. I go right back to the beginning and I draw this list out. Now, this is what the pickup community, the pickup artists, the PUAs never really get into. And it is so important because what it really tells you when you make this list of all the things that you are good at, all the attributes that you have, all the things that this character in this TV show who was with the jock finds attractive in you and likes about you, even though she's with the jock. What it teaches you is that you've probably missed the bus. What it teaches you is that there are girls that you could date. There are girls who want to date you, but you can't see it because you lack confidence. Because your focus is on what you think you lack. Your focus is on what other guys have that you don't have. And therefore, because you focus on what you think you lack and what other guys have that you don't have, your belief is that others have what the women want and you don't. So that's what's happening in dating. And exactly the same thing happens in business. If you're a startup or you're trying to get some financing, some joint venture angel financing, or you're talking to customers, but you've got bigger competitors, if you're there, you're probably still missing the bus if you're focusing on what you lack or what you think you lack, if you're focusing on what the other guys have that you don't have. Quick examples would be you might be focused on the fact that they have a big office. I haven't had an office since the recession of 2007. All the people with the offices, they do what the jocks did. Don't buy from anybody without an office. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Well, you never use a solicitor or an accountant or, so many people run businesses that work from home. This is going back 20 years ago. I've been to accountants' houses, some of the best accountants in the country who work from their homes for tax reasons, for logical reasons, for convenience reasons. So, the people, as we always say in business, we know the people who have to put other businesses down in order to get business are the worst businesses. You don't have to put other businesses down to get business. So, if you're focused on that ladder, you don't have a big plush office, but your competitors have a big office, you're missing the boat. There's somebody who wants to work with someone just like you who works from home and keeps the overheads low and works in that fashion and doesn't have to ramp up the prices to pay for all these overheads. If you're focusing on what other people have, that you don't think you have, like big marketing budgets where you open up the papers and their names are there in double page spreads. I used to get really caught up with that. You're missing the people who don't want to work for big flashy companies like that. I had a guy come over here. I never forget this. And he was being toured by some guys and they picked him up in Ferraris and they had on all the, name brand clothing. He showed them some organizations and he just came back and said to me, I would never buy a property with those guys, man, because I'm not buying them another Ferrari or another Rolex watch. I just want to work for a normal guy, like I'm a normal guy, as a normal business who has. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's people's mentality. So again, if you were thinking, oh, look at these guys, they're putting up in Ferraris, and they got name branded clothing, and they're showing the urbanization, that guy would have bought the exact same property from you rather than them. So your beliefs about what your customer wants, as opposed to what your customer really is looking for, is one of the major things that are holding you back. Now, Why do you make this list? Because this list will give you confidence. This list of all the things you've done, all the attributes you have, will give you confidence. Confidence born from what you already have. And this is what you can use to silence those nagging voices about what other people have and what you think you lack and what you think you should have. Because you can now focus on, well, okay, those guys have all of that, but I have this. This is what I got to work with. And I'm telling you, a lot of the time, what you got to work with already, once you know it and acknowledge it and you wear it and you own it and you use it, will take you so much further than worrying about or trying to imitate what other people have. So the point is, why is confidence so important? Well, if you're listening to this, you probably listen to 1,000 of these. But going back to dating, girls don't date jerks because they're jerks. I remember when I was, again, at somewhere between 13 and 15, and I was in my friend's bathroom as we did back in the day, and we were making our little recordings and our little Tascam 4-track recorder. And it was me, I think it was Doris, who was like a Greek Turk. I know that's what I think so, because I really think he was. No, he was Greek, sorry. And then there was Bobby K, who was from Indian background, and then me and Pete, who were both Caribbean. And we did a song called Why Do Roughnecks Get the Girls? Now, back in the day, roughnecks is a term that we used to use for, you know, the bad boy, the gangster, the criminal, the whatever. That was a term that we used to use. That was a term at the time, roughneck. It's a Caribbean, I think, Jamaican term. But what we didn't understand at the time is that girls don't date jerks because they're jerks. They date guys with confidence. And in exactly the same way in business, money men don't lend money to people because they're arrogant or think they're superior. They lend money to people who are confident and who have self-belief. So when you make this list of all the things that you are good at, all the successes you've had, all the stuff you've done, that is you going straight to telling people, this is what I'm good at. Don't worry about what I ain't good at, or we'll come back to that, but this is what I'm good at. Is this enough for you? And you have that confidence. So rather than me, eventually I left the football team because I was so focused on what I lacked and other people putting me down for being in there that I just left it. I made an excuse and I stopped going. I left the cricket team because I only really joined it because my dad was a cricket fanatic, and actually I thought it was like the most boring sport on the face of the planet. Sorry, Dad. Although it would have suited me better because I was a chubby kid. I liked my Mars bars. I could have been in the outfield, just sat down with a picnic and still been a jock of some sort. But but my point is, I don't know. No, I've lost my point. So, the point is, if I'd have focused on what I had rather than all the things I thought I lacked, I would have been much more attractive to the opposite sex at the time. And again, in business many years ago, if I focused on what I had and the benefits of what I had as opposed to what I thought I lacked against the bigger businesses, the jocks in the business game, I would have been a lot more attractive to my customers, my clients, and potential investors. So the next thing, make an action. Woo, talking does make you thirsty. Make a list of all the things you're going to improve. Make a list of all the things you're going to improve. Make a list of all the things you're going to improve. List what? List how. Do it by measure and do it by time scale. So it ain't something vague in the future, but it's specific. Now, in dating, this is what came next. Once Neil Strauss embraces the pickup community, because like most people first he's thinking, what is this bullshit? Once he embraces the community and decides that he wants to be a part of this, that he wants to get over himself and improve his ability to attract the kind of women that he wants, the first things he does, because the first, just books in sections, the first section is really about him learning about the community and et cetera, et cetera. As a journalist, he goes into find the first thing he does, he goes and gets a haircut. He goes and joins a gym. And then he starts to study the tricks and the tips that these guys teach on how to get women, improving his skill set with regards to getting women. Why? Again, this gives you confidence. Now, what you really want to do is when you make this action plan, your aim is to be the best version of yourself. So that again, that's super important. And I think this is really just the aim of life. This is my personal aim. I can't speak for you. This is my personal aim of life, is to be the best version of myself, to fulfill my potential. I know I'm a jack of all trades. I've got lots of little different things that I like to do, and I do get frustrated when I can't do something, not necessarily because I'm competing with anybody else, but because I want to be the best version of myself. And if it's something I think I can do well, especially if it brings me, A, if it brings me joy, or B, if it will bring joy and benefit to other people, then I think I should be getting on doing it. So I get frustrated, but be the best version of yourself. The best version of yourself is always improving. That's the other key. The best version of yourself is always improving. So I'm repeating this, but it's that important. The best version of yourself is always improving. And the worst version of yourself thinks it's perfect. You ever had a person who thinks they know everything and you can't tell them anything? I think the technical term for that is ignorant. I think if you look up the definition of ignorant, that explanation, what I just said somewhere, will be woven within the lines, that somebody who thinks they know everything already is ignorant. You can't teach them anything. You can't budge them from their view. They already think they're perfect. That's the worst version of yourself. The best version of yourself, whether you're studying it from a Buddhist perspective or from a business perspective, understands that you don't know anything. The world is changing at such a fast rate, especially the world we live in now. You're always learning and you always need to be improving. And it's exactly the same in business. So like I said, in dating, get a haircut, join a gym, study to improve your skills in your tricks and your way of approaching and engaging and chatting with women. And in business, it's exactly the same. Get a haircut, join a gym. Why is that? I refer back to Russ Whitney because for some reason, this is just, he brought these things out as well. He was talking about, and I think Brian Tracy's explained this as well. Personal attractiveness goes a long way in business and a very long way in sales. And if you can't look personally attractive, which I don't think is true of anybody, I think everybody can make themselves look attractive. That's the whole point about being the best version of you. Everyone can do that. But if you feel you can't do that, then you can at least do it in charm, enthusiasm, and charisma. So you can have the same effect of a haircut and joining the gym and becoming more fit and active, but doing it with, your charm, enthusiasm, and charisma. Now, firstly, I actually get the irony. Get a haircut? Yeah, right. But here's the thing. I've worked in many an office, and here's the first thing that somebody has always mentioned after about the third day, or sometimes with clients after the second meeting. If I'm touring clients, seeing properties, the second day, somebody always makes this comment. You changed your hat. Now, why did I do that? Well, I have under here. I always tell people it's my money. It is. No, actually, I have dreadlocks, right? For my own personal reasons. It's my business. But the point is, I know I have dreadlocks and I still have to come across as personally attractive as I can. Now, people expect me, because I have dreadlocks, to wear the one hat. They actually expect me to wear the same red, gold, and green hat with a big marijuana leaf on the front of it while I'm smoking a huge doobie. But I don't smoke. And really, I hate that stereotype. But I do like to keep my dreadlocks nice and clean. I don't want them dragging along the floor or people dropping ice cream in them or whatever. So, I always keep them covered, and for other reasons. The point being, I'm trying to be the best version of myself, and I'm trying to do my version of a haircut. So I can't have just the one hat that covers my locks. That isn't the purpose. I got to have one that matches my clothes. So when I got a blue shirt, I'm rocking a blue hat. When I got on a black shirt, I'm rocking a black hat. If I go out, you might see me in a burgundy hat. I'm still trying to match my clothes. I ain't great at dressing, but that's my whole point. You don't have to be perfect at it. I ain't never going to be anybody's model. But you do your bit to try and do the best with your personal attractiveness. So, get a haircut, get a hairstyle, do your thing. Doesn't matter what it is, as long as it suits you, you're happy with it. And it's you being your best self with regards to personal attractiveness. Exactly the same thing as joining the gym. In attraction, it's amazing. Just because I've been married for 20 years, doesn't mean I'm blind. As we always say, my wife will probably say more than me, just because I got no money, don't mean I can't window shop. So You know, at the end of the day, what I mean is not so much me window shopping, is that I know that when I've worked out and I go out into town, I can tell the difference in the level of attraction directed towards me than if I haven't done that. And I'm still the chubby kid. You know, it's not like, I work out and I come back with a washboard stomach. There is just something about being fit and healthy, about the way you move, about the way you carry yourself. And it also does give you a little bit more confidence in the way you move and carry yourself. And that attraction shows. And I just see that just by going to the gym, or the difference between if I fall off and I haven't been to the gym for a while, and when I start going again, you see the difference. And then the most important part of this is study to improve your skills and attributes. In dating, it was, pick up lines, pick up techniques, etc., etc. In business, it will be learning sales and marketing. But you have to set a plan to improve yourself. So you got to set a plan to improve your sales, your marketing, your specific business skill, whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's a service or a product. You got to set a plan to improve your overall customer's experience. You've got to do that. So, quick recap, start from where you are and acknowledge all the skills, attributes, successes that you have. Then set a plan to improve your personal attractiveness and your skill set, what you're offering to the person. Stop begging and start attracting. Doing those two things, the confidence you get from really accepting all what you have as opposed to what you lack, and knowing that you've now started on a road day by day of improving your skills, improving those things that you have, and reducing those things you lack, will start the process of you stop begging people, whether it's for a date or for business, and being the kind of person who attracts people who wants to date you or attracts people who wants to do business with you. Now, when I say stop begging in dating, this means stop looking. This is a really complicated one, and this is something that I'm going to go into one of these days. Again, I'll just say quickly, the whole dichotomy between these two schools of thought, one of them being, if you want something, think about nothing else and do nothing else until you get it. And the other one being, if you want something, set that intention and ignore it. And wait for the universe to give it to you. Somewhere in between that, there's an answer. I find out most definitely in dating, stop looking. Stop looking, stop asking women out. Just go out, be yourself, and have fun. Be the best you. Know that you're looking good. Know that you're getting fitter. Know that you're having fun and having a great life. And you will start attracting women to you. In my personal life, this is the reality. When you're in the club, I was going to do my 50 Cent. You see me in the club? I can't remember the lyrics go. When you're in the club, hungry. When you've been single for a while and you're in the club, hungry, and you're getting whiplash at everything that walks past in a satin dress or a tight pair of jeans or a pair of heels, you're begging, and you're not attracting, you're repelling every woman, because every woman sees that you're looking at every woman. So you're giving yourself no value. Forget low value. You're giving yourself no value because you're telling these women, I will hook up with any one of you because I'm hungry. I'm starving. Come on, please. You're begging. So you got to stop begging. Stop looking. If you want to go to the club, go to the club to have some fun, to be with your boys and listen to some music and have some drinks and have a great time. And what will happen, the pickup community will bear this out, is while you're over there having a good time, they call it peacocking, women will say, hey, look at those guys over there. They seem to be having a great time. He's not at the bar looking at every single woman passing. He's doing his own thing, having a wonderful, fun time. I came out to have fun. They look like fun. I should go and maybe see if I can get to hang around those guys. That's attraction. That's the difference between begging and attraction. So stop begging, go out and do you. How does this work in business? Well, in business, you got to get to work on your business plan. You got to stop begging. You got to go and be as good as you can be. So when I say business plan, what I mean is, depending on whether you're starting a business or you're already in business, it's the same principle. You got to stop going and begging people for attraction, stop chasing people, and get to work on making your business the best business it can be. Get to work on making your business an attractive business for people to want to engage with, to take the services from. It just basically do the exact same thing as what you would do if you were dating and just out with your friends having a good time. Let people see the results. Do a good job and promote that. So let people see the results. Or if you're still planning, put up some test cases so people can see that this is really what you're trying to achieve. And rather than running around to everybody saying to everybody, hey, like the guy, the hungry guy in the club, hey, would you like that? Hey, would you like that? Did you have 1 minute to? No, you're here. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm working on. And maybe I put a bit of, information out there so you can see it. But I'm just putting it out there because I'm working on this, making this the best thing it can be. And people who are walking by, rather than you go, excuse me, would you like to just, I could have just done. You're just doing your thing, building it, making it as perfect as you can. And the people walking by are stopping looking at you. Hey, that business looks interesting. Okay, I'll keep walking. Come back again. I saw that business a little while ago, and yeah, that's growing really well. Okay, I'll pay attention to that another time. Come back again. Yeah, I'm gonna stop now. I'm gonna ask them, hey, what are you doing? How is that going? And now again, you're attracting people to you, especially if you're enjoying it and showing people your passion. This is why I still veer on the side of do something that you love, something that you're passionate about, as opposed to doing something just to make money. If you can do something just to make money, hey, dude, I'm not gonna wrong you. Do that and make that money. But it's so much harder to motivate yourself to do something just to make money when you're growing it or when it becomes difficult than if you're doing something that you love anyway. And that's the reason why I go for always do the thing that you love as opposed to doing the thing just to make money. And as I said, in both these instances, rather than you chasing and begging people for attention, you will be attracting people to you. People will be coming to you and now asking you for their attention. And you probably still be like, okay, I've got 2 minutes because actually I'm really busy just growing this. And it's the same thing. And that's why, we get that the dichotomy. I'm a guy, so I can't speak from a guy's perspective. Let's just keep it real. But this is why a lot of women go, oh, that guy's a jerk. Because they don't understand that, you could have been through that whole begging phase of, hey, can I just get your attention? Can you just stop for a minute? I really want to. And then you just get to this dating thing isn't working out for me. To hell with it. Forget that. I'm just going to go and live my life and have my fun. And now you're genuinely there with your friends having a great time. And then you're attracted women. A woman comes over and goes, hey, what's up? And like, yo, seriously, I'm with my boys and we're having fun. I got no time for you. She's like, oh, that guy's so up himself. He's a jerk. But no, you've got to that point where you're just having fun with your boys now. And, you weren't looking for a relationship, so that's what you're doing. And it could be the same thing with business. Oh, no, I'm really focused on my business right now. Yeah, but can you explain to me? Okay, I'll give you 2 minutes of my time because right now I'm at this point and I'm just about to make this breakthrough and I'm just about to get there and I just need to focus on this. It's not an arrogance. It's because you've got your focus in the right place and now you're attracting people to you. You barely even have time for them. So all of a sudden, you've gone from begging people to let you in to vetting the people that you have got time to let into your space. Now, another one, super important. Let me take a drink before I do this one. Once you've gone through those stages, super important. Know when you're attracting someone. Know when you're attracting someone. Now, this is one of my worst failures in dating. I mean, I talk about dating. I'm going back from the age of about 11 through to about the age of, I got married like 20 years ago. That's a long time, but it's definitely one of my worst failures in dating is, like I said, first, because I didn't know my own values, as in the things I was good at, the things that was attracting people to me, because I didn't take ownership of that, because I didn't believe in that, people actually saw value in me as a person, what I was doing, because I had more insecurity than I had confidence, because I'd put all my focus and effort on the things I lacked and what other people have that I didn't, rather than the things I had that other people didn't. I had no idea when I'd attracted someone. And what's so funny is that as you look back in life, especially as I've been, like I said, studying stuff in the pickup community, what I found out was that like anything, a lot of the things they were teaching, I'd kind of half-stepped. I kind of half did that, half did this, half did that. I just had never understood what I was doing or put it into a cohesive strategy. So not only in the past was I not aware when I was attracting someone, But even when I did attract someone, very much like that whole Peter Parker or that high school teen drama, I wasn't even confident enough to believe it. And because I wasn't confident enough to believe it, I wasn't confident enough to do something about it. And that was crazy because, as I said, when I look back, I had, like everybody, look, I'm talking high school, right? You can tell I haven't got over all of this stuff. Welcome to my therapy session. But no, I'm talking high school and the years that followed and young adulthood, to be honest with you, yeah? And I think it's a very poignant point. I'd attract women and I just didn't believe they were attracted to me. So I put myself in the friend zone 90% of the time. Looking back after studying, so much stuff in the pickup community, I saw what I did right. I saw how it attracted women into my life. I saw how and why almost all my best friends, I'd say that I had a lot of female friends, disproportionate amount of female friends. So I was known as the guy with lots of female friends. I was the guy who guys would come and say, "Yo, can you hook me up with her?" And I'd hook you up with her without realizing that she really would have preferred to be hooked up with me. But because I wasn't doing anything about it, because I had no confidence, she'd be like, "Okay, well, you obviously just want to be my friend. So, okay, you recommend this guy and I really like you. I'll take your advice." And that was the guy I was. So know when you're attracting someone and be confident enough to believe it and do something about it. Now, in dating, this comes down to learning the attraction signs. You can go on any PUA site. I'll put some in the show notes. The ones I like, as I said before, I keep on getting this wrong. I'm sure it's far from average. I'll put it in the show notes. They do like a kind of drawing thing, and they go through these explanations of attraction and drawing. And it's very light and subtle, and it's not vulgar, and it's not machistic or anything like that. David D'Angelo, I like his work a lot as well, particularly because his last, well, it's very old, but the last major thing I came across from him was on being a man, which is really about just being a man, an alpha male, rather than just dating and tricks and tips, which I really got into. And alpha male strategies is the same, but he's much more machismo. And he will offend a lot of people because, he has a certain style, and he's very direct about what he is. He's there to have sex. He's not trying to find a relationship. He even says, you're looking for a girlfriend, go to Corey Wayne. Dr. Corey Wayne is a doctor, but Corey Wayne ain't bad either. So there's a lot of interesting stuff out there. And all that stuff will teach you how to learn the attraction signs, how to know when someone's attracted to you, because when people are attracted to you, they won't rock up and go, "Hey, I fancy you." Life isn't like that. They'll do certain things and you'll be able to see those signs and go, "Oh, right, okay, that seems like she's a bit attracted to me." Like I said, have the confidence to believe it. Create the confidence to believe it. How did we do that? I'm going to go again because it's super important. List all the things you're good at already to know that you already have traits that are attractive, that will deliver people who are interested in you to you. And then know you are working on yourself and improving yourself in a consistent basis so you're getting better. And once you know what you have and what you're working towards and know you're working towards it, you'll start to create the confidence that believes it when people step to you and go, "Hey, I think you're interesting." And that will give you in turn the confidence to do something about it. And then when you also get to that point, know how to do something about it. There's a great, I don't know if it's got a chapter, but a segment in the game, the Neil Strauss book, where he basically learns a kissing close. And basically this is what happens. And again, this is something that I resonated with. Whereas, he'd got to this point where he'd learned all these tricks and tips, got a haircut, gone to the gym, and he'd go out peacocking and get all this girl's attention and, get this interest, and he'd get this girl alone and wouldn't know what to do next. Quick shout out to the podcast I'm going to do on why Hollywood has ruined manhood, right? Because every TV show I've ever seen, ever in my life, in that instance, the woman kisses the man. I know this is obviously one of the things that only ever happens to me. But every time I've gone through that whole process and got somebody into that circumstance, even by the most dramatic amount of mistakes and mishaps and good luck, ain't no woman ever leaned and kissed me. And if you didn't know how to bridge that gap, welcome to the friend zone. So that really resonated with me when Neil Strauss was like, I learned all this stuff, I had to get these women in just this spot, but I couldn't close them. Recognize anything? Salespeople? Recognize anything? People looking for business? This is where we are. And then also, once you've got past that bridge of to actually initiating intimate contact, you also have to really know what you're doing. Let's just keep this real. Everybody has to walk out of a situation satisfied. Now, in business, knowing when you've attracted someone. My worst failure in my personal life, in my intimate life, and my worst failure in business. I guess it goes without saying, right? But you know me, I'm a very genuine person. I'm very hard on myself, and I'm also very open to, looking at, knowing, and accepting my failure. So my worst failure in business, knowing when I'd attracted someone, knowing and realizing when I actually had someone's attention, business-wise, and they wanted to do business with me, being confident enough to believe it and to do something about it. Now, particularly for me, I've always thought I was a terrible salesman. So I didn't realize when I'd given enough information to somebody and they were ready to make a purchase, because I never thought I was good at selling. And that's one of the reasons I came across Soft Selling the Hard World by Jerry Vass, and one of the reasons I was introduced to this whole pickup community as a way of learning sales, because I just couldn't understand. I thought salesmen were doing some kind of magic. In the same way, I suppose I thought how guys who would now we term players, I always thought they were doing some kind of magic as well, like all things. Once someone's laid out the process and the structure and how to do it, and something that you can follow, all of a sudden the magic gets debunked. And that's what it was. But I had the exact same thing in sales and in investment, that, I didn't have the confidence to know when I'd attracted someone's interest to buy or to invest. And I didn't have the confidence to do anything about it, particularly with investment, because I had this absolute terror of losing people's money. And it's funny because there I am having this personal terror, and it was kind of well-founded. I did some business and I'd lost some people's money and they were really shitty about it. But luckily for me, the last time it happened was around the time of the 2007 to 2012, let's say, recession. And I remember I had a very, direct conversation with somebody who had lost some money. Now, I had invested money, by the way. I hadn't lost money. I had invested money, and he was a friend of mine. And I was like, dude, I'm investing money here because I'm so confident this is going to bring back, a good return. I really want to help you. I want you to make money. I suggest you invest the same place. So he did, right? He took my advice. I didn't charge him anything. Recession came, investment went down the pan, and he got really shitty with me. And one Sunday morning, he called me and said, I need to talk to you about getting my money back. So I went out and I met him because I really loved this guy and I respected him. And I said to him, this around the same time, I said, right about now, Iceland as a country, I think it was Iceland, has gone bankrupt because of bad investments. You've got Northern Rock that's been bailed out by the government. You've got Lehman Brothers. That's, all these big banks have gone bankrupt in this same 6-month period. I said, do you think the CEOs of any of these banks are meeting any of their investors on a Sunday morning? I said, don't get me wrong. I know you invested with this investment because of edification, because you trusted me and because we're friends. I said, that's why I'm here. I said, but I think you need to put this in perspective. If you'd lost your money with Northern Rock, or investing in a pension fund that invested in the Iceland government scheme, or whatever it is, there'd be nobody to meet you on a Sunday morning at 11 o'clock to discuss your investment and how you're going to get your money back. I said, so far from me abusing you, actually you are abusing me. But that's the kind of reason why I was so terrified of losing people's money, and I didn't have the confidence because, those kind of experiences take away your confidence. You don't want to have to go through that again. Now, that's what I always say, never do business with, family or friends. And I've had the exact same scenario with both. And as I always say, when you're successful and you make people money or you teach them how to make money, they're clever. Oh, look how clever I am. I just made all this money. I'm doing these investments. I'm now investing in property. I'm doing this. They don't ever tell anybody, oh, yeah, because, Felix Joseph from Property Under One Roof, business investment consultancy, he took me on a course. He taught me how to do this. He suggested I do that. It's all them. But the moment they lose money based on your advice or on your investment, it's your fault. So, at the end of the day, you have to really learn to get a thicker skin, basically, and understand that people are people and you still have the right to go ahead and do your business. And if you're conscientious and hardworking, you're probably better than 50% of the people out there. Because 25% of the people out there are scam artists anyway. They have no intention of making these people money or returning any money. So you're way ahead of the game, even if you're trying your best. So learning the attraction signals and being confident enough to do something about them. I definitely used to have a fear of losing people's money, and I definitely didn't understand when it was time to close. Another guy was a horrible guy, but like I said, my only blessing in life is I know you can learn something from everybody. In fact, funnily enough, the same guy who lost my money and this friend's money, the story that I just told you, he had the same, which was you can talk yourself into a deal and you can talk yourself out of one. And he's right. You've got to know when the buyer's giving you buying signals. That's an attraction signal. They want to do something with you. Just like in dating, now is the time to close. That was my big mistake in dating, that when I was getting the buying signal, when it was time for me to go in for whatever I had to do, my kiss close or whatever, make things intimate, I was still talking. So I talked to you from the I'm not sure right into the okay, yeah, I really want to be with you, right through to the why don't we just go to the friend zone? And I've done it in business as well. I've taught people right from the I'm skeptical about this, right up to okay, I'm convinced this sounds like a really good deal, let's do this, and right through to the okay, then I guess maybe I won't do it now. And I've talked them out of the deal. So learning the attraction signs and knowing when to close, knowing, having the confidence to do that. So, you got to create the confidence. You got to create the self-worth in order to do that. Create the confidence to overcome the objections, because that's what it is. Once you're getting them buying signals, there will be some, in the dating world, they call it last minute resistance. In the business world, they call them objections. Of course there will be, because that's the moment they're about to buy. And this always used to be my problem, that I used to get last minute rejection or objections and think, this person doesn't want to buy. Oh, after all this time and effort, I still haven't convinced them. Okay, I should let them go. Let me walk you through to the non-buyers lounge. Let me walk you through to the friend zone. Let's go hang out in the friend zone. But I didn't understand that it was just last minute rejection or last minute rejection or objections to overcome. I didn't understand that because I didn't know that I'd attracted the person. So know when you've attracted them. Now, in business again, just like from the dating, Neil Strauss practiced his kiss close. He knew that was his problem, that he could take him right through to the point of being interested and didn't know how to move it from being, non-tactile to being intimate. In business, you've got to practice your closes. You've got to learn how to overcome objections, and then you have to practice closing. Every sales course will tell you this. Practice, practice, practice. Learn your closes. Learn your objections, learn how you're going to overcome them, and practice closing, practice trial closes, practice real closes, practice my real close didn't work, and how you loop back into giving them more information, more benefits, and then moving that process right through to another trial close until they kick you out the door, just like in dating. So, in business, keep it where it should be. Learn, practice your closes. Practice it. Neil Strauss, like I said in the book, taught himself a whole procedure to move from non-tactile, non-intimate contact to tactile, intimate contact. A whole process, a script. Learn your script to get your sales done once you have created your attraction. Learn your script to get your sales done once you've created your attraction. Learn your script to get your investment money once you've created your attraction. Learn that habit, know it. Because once you've gone through all the trouble of all the people who aren't interested, all the people who are interested, all the people who are interested but won't do anything yet, all the people who are interested but haven't got the time to do with you right now, and you have, this is what I love, Jerry Vaz says this in the book, Soft Selling in the Hard World. He said this about, a dog can chase a ball. But sales is about knowing what to do with the ball when he catches it. Well, you've gone through all this process of chasing the ball, and now you've got someone in front of you and you've attracted them. You've got to do the right thing. Nothing is life or death. Of course, you can always get another one through the door, but the more prepared you are to get this one done right, it's better for everybody. And again, the more confidence you'll have for the next one who comes to that same stage. So learn it, have a process and learn it. And then lastly, as I said, know what to do with it. So in business, once you've attracted this money, and I've seen this so many times living on the coast of the soul, and it just infuriates me. Once you've attracted this money to invest, let's say it's an investment, Don't go and rent a Porsche. Don't go and rent a Porsche Cayenne or or a BMW X5. Don't go and book dinner at the Four Seasons or someone that go and rent a 5-9 bed villa with a private pool just so you can look like you're rich. Know what to do with it in a dating scenario. It's basically being a good lover, and in business it's being a good, responsible business partner who does the work and gets the investor back their money, or gets the buyer, the client, the goods or the services they wanted. That's knowing what to do with it when you've got it. Okay, so it's been a long one, but I think this is super important. Plus, I'm enjoying it. Here's the last thing I want to say. Have a bit on the side. Have a bit on the side. I need a drink. Have a bit on the side. Now, what does that mean? Well, there's a great statement. I'm thinking of some Glenn Ross. I've never seen that movie. It's on my list. They say a desperate salesman is a lost salesman. Well, I ain't seen the movie, but Lord knows I know that's true. And I have been a desperate salesman far too many occasions and for far too many years. Primarily because a lot of the stuff that I just went through about lack of confidence and not knowing what to do with deals or people when I've attracted them. But let's keep this going in the same process as before. When it comes to dating, why would you have a bit on the side? Okay, well, let's say you don't have your girlfriend. Now, things have changed a lot, by the way, and I'm 48, so let's just keep this all in perspective. But I don't think so much of this has changed so much. I just think I didn't really know about it. So when you're dating, right, you're looking for your partner, your significant other, somebody you really want to have, a relationship with. If you're just waiting for that person, I don't think they do that so much now. These crazy kids. But, I don't think they do it so much now. But back in the day, you'd be waiting for that, for the one, right? There's a wonderful thing in the game, the Neil Strauss book game where they talk about one-itis. And I love that because that was already part of the book I was writing, which is, the one isn't the one. There's 7 billion people on this planet. It's probably like the 1,000th. But the point I'm making is that, if you're holding out for the one, you're not dating, you're not having any intimate contact with anybody, you're not having sex with anybody, then your desperation is going to leak. In fact, your desperation is going to reek. And that's just the truth. You'd be very, very, very hard pushed to not let that happen. Or you could go the complete other way and just seem completely uninterested and nonchalant to everybody you meet. And then there's people just think you're stuck up or you're unfriendly. So you need to be in practice, to be honest with you. And this is what everybody knows. Everybody knows that when you're single, it always seems like so hard to get anyone to be interested in dating you. And the moment you start dating somebody, as a man, women start coming out the woodwork. As a woman, I've had my women friends tell me the moment I start dating somebody, men start coming out the woodwork. Even men who were there before. You've been hanging around for months. You want me now? Because everybody wants what they can't get. Yes, because scarcity is the most important commodity in most humans' minds. That's what happens all of a sudden. When you're always available, not that interested. When you're not available, wow, interested. Plus, when other people want you, then your value goes up because now it's something that people want. The value goes up. Don't believe us? Ask the bears. They're the ones who got billions in diamonds and they're only releasing a couple of 100,000 a year to create the scarcity to make something that actually has no real value valuable. So scarcity is what it's about, as in creating value. So what I mean by having a bit on the side is if you're dating and you're sleeping with somebody, friends with benefits, whatever the deal is, however you're achieving that, if you're not desperate because you've got somewhere to go, then your desperation won't leak out because it won't be there and then you won't put people off. And that's not just sex. It could just be having great friends. One of the things I was going to do with this book is talk about the sliding scale of relationships. Something I'm super interested in, from someone I don't know or don't care to somebody I'm infatuated with and I love dearly, and all the, or my one monogamous partner and all the relationships in between, because you get friends who are everything but the person you're having sex with. And that can happen when you're single, or when you're dating, or while you're married. So I think it's a very interesting sliding scale, something I really want to go into another day when I write that book. So my point being, you can fulfill so many of the requirements of or the things you require from a relationship already. And that's what I mean by have a bit on the side. Have all that stuff handled in other places. People to hang out with, people to have fun with, people to go to concerts with. And if you can, somebody to have sex with. It doesn't have to be somebody who you want to spend the rest of your life with, but it could just be somebody who you have a great sexual chemistry with, and you're having sex with them. So that's great. And that makes you less desperate. Now, in business, it's much more important. In business, cash flow chokes creativity. So when I say have a bit on the side in business, what I mean is you have to be able to have money. Now, this is one of the biggest lessons that I've ever learned, and I'm just coming at the other end of it. I'm hoping I've learned it. I obviously knew the cash flow. Well, no, I lied. I didn't know the cash flow choked creativity. I thought that running a business and making money that created cash flow was the business. And it took me many, many years to really understand, which is terrible because I started my business by reading a book by Michael Gerber called The E-Myth Revisited that I still remember so much of. And it kind of broke all this down. But then what happens is you get stuck and zeroed in and focused on running your day-to-day business. And, you're a small business and you're a megalomaniac and you're doing all 16 tasks yourself. You haven't outsourced. You can't afford to employ people. So you get lost into that one-man band or small business. I've been from one-man band to having 35 staff to right back to being a one-man band. But you just get stuck into that. The point being, if you're chasing the dollar bill, y'all. I know this is a business podcast, but I can't help myself. A bit of Wu-Tang Clan. If you're chasing that dollar bill, you're chasing that euro, you're chasing that pound, you're chasing that next sale, you're chasing that next client, you don't have time to build and plan your business. Number one lesson from the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. I read it, understood it. Well, I patently didn't understand it because I didn't do anything about it. Or maybe I just didn't know how to move from that position, from, as he puts it, working in your business to working on your business. The reason you work in your business is because you need money to keep the lights on. You need money to put gasoline in the car, petrol in the car. You need money for advertising. You need money to eat. Your kids need shoes. Your wife's working in your business. Mine was anyway. But the point is you need money to survive in the society in order to wake up in the morning and keep running your business. So you're chasing money in the business. But what I've discovered is that chasing money in your business is sometimes the worst thing in the world because you don't get to plan it. So here are the two things you can do. The best businesses, which I didn't understand because I had this horrible, horrible, horrible fear of borrowing money, is they borrow money. They borrow enough money to allow them to run their business for 1 year or 2 years and work on the business, line things up in the correct way, and then start attracting the kind of clients who can pay back the loan. That's the best scenario for a startup, really. If you're really going to do it, you're not a con man, you're not a scam man, you are serious, you're going to try. And as I've recently discovered, most people who invest money in businesses are very well aware that their money could be lost anyway. So the pressure is on you to perform, but as the investor, now most investors, they're not investing, they're not lending you everything they have spare. They're doing due diligence, checking you out as a potential business partner and lending you what they think they can afford to lose. So I'm not trying to tell you to lose people's money. I'm just trying to tell you that, you've got to put this in perspective and understand that, yes, it's okay to borrow people's money because they have already factored in the potential, the possibility that you might fail and they will lose that money. 8 out of 10 new startups fail anyway. And if they're a business angel or an investor or, a Dragon's Den type person, they know that. So unless they have some kind of a magical crystal ball that tells them that you are going to be one of the two that succeed, they know what the risks are. You just need to take their money and do the right work, which is to build that business in the right way to attract the right customers. So when they come through the door and start making money, you can give your investors the returns. That's the mistake I made. That was the biggest mistake I made, was working in my business for years, and not working on my business. You've got to stop chasing the dollar to pay the bills. Otherwise, you're just a sole trader. And that's what I did for so many years. I had business partners and we were still sole traders. We didn't get the concept of how I tried my best. In fact, it's one of the reasons why my last group of business partners, I left them, because they didn't get their head around the concept of this. There's like 3 of us now. We can start to demark our demarcation. And then, one of us can work in the business and one of us can focus on us and one of us can focus on something else. In between that, we can build this business. And they didn't get it. They just wanted us to all be sole traders, but working together. And, I guess that's around the time I really understood that it was the wrong thing I was doing. So, yeah, you need to be getting this money and working on your business. And if you can't raise money, here's another thing to do. This is what every actor or singer in the world does and knows. Get a job in Tesco's, dude. Get a job in the supermarket. Get anything that allows you to cover subsistence, preferably a part-time job. Because if you have a part-time job that covers your subsistence, so you can pay your rent and you can put petrol in your car and you can do the stuff you got to do, this is what always happens. Everyone goes, that guy, he just works at the local supermarket. But they don't know your plans. And when they go, hey, guy, you work in a local supermarket and I am an IT senior technician. Ha ha ha. Let's go out for a drink. I'm buying. And you go, no, I'm busy. And they think, oh, that guy's just sore because he works in the supermarket and I'm an IT senior technician. I'm a junior accountant. You don't understand that you're going home to work on your business. And in 3 or 4 years' time, maybe 5 years' time, while he's still selling his time for money, you now have a system that's up and running, that's bringing you passive income that you're in control of. Because you put your time in working on the business. So very, very importantly, have a bit on the side. Your bit on the side in business is where your cash comes from. If it's coming from your business, make sure it's only a percentage of the time you spend on your business. If you get to the point where you're chasing the dollar with 100% of your business hours, you need to change something, because you need to be spending at least 50% of your business time planning, organizing, structuring, restructuring, raising finance, building relationships, and marketing. And none of that is involved in working in your business. So if you're the one working in your business, actually doing the job of, getting that money, that stuff isn't getting done. And you're going to be just going around and around like a hamster in one of those little wheels. And I've done it myself, so take my word for it. I know how limiting it is and how liberating it is to have enough investment to sit back at your business and go, damn, that's shit. I've got to fix that. It's like living in that house and never having the time, working so hard, you never have time to come on and realize that, you got a leak in the bathroom and a leak in the kitchen and some of the plaster's falling down. It's like, I just realized I just took a break and I saw the stuff that's wrong with this house. If I fix this house up, I'll be able to be so much more productive. And that's what it is. So you've got to get your subsistence money from, if it's not from within your business, from something else. But it can't take all your business time. You've got to have at least 50% of your business time to work on your business. And that's what's so important. So have a part-time job, have another flow of income, get investment, whatever you got to do, make sure you do that. And the best examples I can think of in business who have done this, just off my head, are Netflix and Amazon. These are people who have had investment and run an investment for years without making a penny of profit, because they know that their business idea, their business structure is right. They're now both household names. I don't have a Netflix account. I have an Android TV box. But when I joke with people, I go, I can't bother to do that, mate. I'm watching Netflix, because Netflix has become the default word for on-demand TV in the same way that Durex became the default word for contraceptives. That's how powerful Netflix is marketing. They're throwing millions around to the point that there's now huge debates as comedians are arguing as to who got the most millions for their TV special, and they're not even making a profit, but they got investment. That's somebody who isn't scared to have someone else's money, and they're not chasing the dollar. They've got the investment and they're building a plan. They know they want to be the dominant person in the marketplace. They are going to be the alpha male. Netflix are going to be the alpha male in on-demand television. Amazon Prime, whoever else, not interested. Netflix are going to be the alpha male. And that's the position they want to be in. When they're in that position and they've got that locked, then they're going to attract everything they want to. They're going to pay back all that investment. And then very, very lastly, keep them coming back for more. Well, long story short, I did allude to this a few seconds ago. If we're talking about in dating, where the pickup artist tricks and tips, this is where they start to fail. You can peacock and have a couple of magic tricks and, have a couple of funny lines and get a girl interested in you, and maybe even follow that all the way through to, like I said, getting it to the point of, attraction, let's do something. But once you've done something, is she coming back for more? Let's just keep this absolutely real. You have to, like I said, build your skill set. You have to build your skill set to get them to the point of attraction and interest. And if you want to go past that attraction and interest, you want to do in the dating world be anything more than a one-night stand artist, you have to become a good lover. You have to become somebody who they keep the attraction for, sexually and personality-wise. And you can't keep on doing card tricks. You have to have something more than that. And that's where, as I said before, my personal journey with the pickup art has been, bearing in mind I'm not going around picking up women because I've been married for 20 years, but still, I've been studying this stuff. Like I've been studying sales, and I've been studying marketing, I've been studying branding, I've been studying, I study all this stuff for business. That's where I started to really find greater value in the David D'Angelo's, and the alpha male strategies, because they're talking, and the far from average, they start talking less about tricks and tips to getting somebody to believe that you're something that you're not, faking it until you make it, and actually making it, actually being that person, because that person will keep the attraction, not just draw the attraction, but that person will keep the attraction. And the tricks and tips are a little bit back to begging, really. You might not know it, but really you're begging because you're getting attention and it's very quick, but there's no substance behind it. And, pretending to be confident eventually will fail because they're going to want somebody who really is confident. And pretending to be great in bed, there's a lot of stuff you hear women say, like, oh, that smack you was talking about. Oh, that smack you was talking about, what you going to do to me? My coordination's terrible. Smack you was talking about, what you going to do to me? And, or that's the American version, because it's a lot of hip hop and stuff. Or the English version is, he's all mad for no trousers. Well, she's got quite a deep voice, that woman. But the point is, everyone knows that, all mad for no trousers. That's as old as that's an old English colloquial, I guess, Cockney saying, which is somebody who talks a good fight, lots of chat. Oh yeah, you wait till I get you, love. You're gonna have the experience of your life, and then one day you say, okay then, and you don't, so you actually have to deliver, is what I'm trying to say. Once you finally got them to that point where, okay, I'm buying, then you have to deliver. And this is exactly the same, once again, from dating to business. Where the con men and the tricksters fail is they don't get people to reinvest, because they've got the tricks and the tips and the gift of the gab to get you to put the money in, but they have to run away because there is no return. So they will never get a reinvestment unless they find somebody who's particularly easily tricked, and then they can use that same con trick to, give you a story and get past that. But that's true of everybody. So like I said, it's just another version of begging. There's no substance to it. There's no longevity to it. So pretending to be a good businessman, there's nothing wrong with fake it until you make it, because it gets you past your own insecurities. But I don't really think that's good. Rather than fake it until you make it, as I've said before, I think you should list all the things you're good at and take that from your cornerstone. Know what you can't do, know what you can do. Right, this is all the stuff I'm good at. I don't have to fake that. I'm good at that. Then make a list of all the things that you're going to be good at, you're going to improve yourself at. I'm working towards that. Now I don't have to fake that either. I'm not that, but I'm working towards it. So then all of a sudden, fake it until you make it, all of a sudden dissolves, because you've got what you are good at and what you're working towards being good at. And that's a lot more than you'll think it is. And then, you don't have to worry so much about that, because, pretending to be confident will fail. You really need to be confident. And another personal example, painful one, is somebody that I kind of knew anyway. I'm going to keep it real. This was an absolute Hail Mary. It was a last minute scenario where I was doing a deal and so having some problems and everything had gone wrong. And there was a guy who was always talking up how well connected he was and how clever he was and how much deals he'd done. And, it's one of those ones. I always say, when you get conned by somebody, you know it anyway. I've always said that. And I knew it. That's why I'd never done business with this guy for years, even though he was always talking about how brilliant he was. But I'd got to this point where I was desperate, so I had nothing to lose. So I'm not holding him responsible for this. I'm not holding this against him. This was just interesting. So I gave him this deal that, I was failing because I just moved to Spain and as part of my portfolio, I was buying another portfolio and there was all kinds of stuff going on. I wasn't on the ground in the UK to deal with it because I just moved my family to Spain. I had a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old. We were adjusting to the country. If you know anything about Spain, Andalusia, it's a very efficient country. So everything has to be done in triplicate and we didn't even know the language. So there was just a lot going on. It was not a good time to move. That I hold myself responsible for. But anyway, I'll never forget, after all the talk of, don't worry, I've got it sorted, I got my people on it, blah, 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 blah. I got a phone call from one day from a guy, a very unscrupulous guy, another story. And he said, all right, if this deal isn't done by Friday, I'm closing it, I'm taking your deposit. And I'm selling it to someone else. And, he had the legal right to. So I phoned this guy and I said, look, he says if it isn't done by Friday, he's going to close and take the deposit. And this was on the phone, and I'm telling you, it was palpable. I could hear this guy's confidence crack. And that's when I realized that I was right all along. It was all a black. He'd been faking it, so confident, so well connected, I've done this deal, I've solved this problem before, blah, 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 blah. And the moment he got a definite deadline, if you don't get it done by this time, it's all over. It was like, oh, shit, I'm out of black. There's nowhere to go with this. So suffice to say, that deal went and lost me a lot of money. Now, I ain't mad at him because I knew really he didn't have the skills to do it in the first place. It was a Hail Mary. Like I said, that was a last resort based on my circumstances. But it's an interesting example to point out about faking it until you make it in business. If you just spend as much time, and I think this of all conmen, I've met some brilliant conmen in my life, and criminals. And I always think if you spend as much time and effort into actually building real skills and real businesses and giving real results that you put into lying, tricking, and conning people, you'd be an exceptional businessman. But like with most of those people, there's a very strange mixture of laziness, which is kind of bizarre because to me it's the same amount of effort, but that's another story. There's a mixture of laziness, but the worst part of it is the narcissism, the enjoyment of tricking people. See, my enjoyment comes from actually delivering results to people. That's my real kick. That's what I get the biggest amount of enjoyment from, is giving people results, having people having their successes, and equally making money from that, making my money so I can enjoy myself and do what I have to do. That's what I get my kick from. Conmen get their kick from tricking people and lying to people and feeling superior. Now, some of them really get a kick from hurting people and seeing people, go broke and losing money and knowing they have that power over them. So, my point being, this guy wasn't that. He was just a bullshitter. He was just a blagger. And it was just, I'll never forget the sound on that phone, the pin drop, when I gave him the deadline after he'd blagged it for like almost 2 months and had really had no solution to the problem. And I was like, yep, that's what it is. Fake it till you make it. You've been faking it and you can't resolve this problem. So at the end of the day, you really want to invest in having those skills. You want to invest in knowing that you can actually give that return. So once you've got that attraction, you have to be able to give that return. So put the time and effort into learning how to do it. Be around the people who can teach you how to do it. Get some good role models, get some good mentors, get some good coaches, and actually know how to give those results. And very lastly, because it's been a long one for me, the end result of this whole process, of course, there's much more to it. This is just me throwing a few things out there. The very end result of this whole process is just like in dating. Once you have a high quality woman, or any woman really, as I said before, other women will notice you. And other women will be attracted to you because all of a sudden, social proof, your status has gone up. You now have shown that you have value because somebody else wants you, someone else wants to be with you, someone else is giving their time to be with you. And most importantly, and this is one thing that women definitely know, is someone else is happy and satisfied by you. So that others flock. And that's why we have that reality of, I can't believe it, when I was single, no one wanted to know. Now I've got a girlfriend, all these women are throwing themselves at me. And funnily enough, it's exactly the same in business. That once you start successfully delivering to business partners will start coming out the woodwork. People who you didn't even think had money, people you didn't even think were interested in what you did or might wanted to make an investment or might wanted to buy. People who were just, as I said, passing. Everyone's keeping an eye on you. And the moment you start having some success, that's all of a sudden when they start saying, hey, can I get involved in that? Or, who you borrowing? I never forget, I had this wonderful thing. I was doing lots of property deals in the UK. and I needed a bridge loan. So I did a bridge loan, and I gave a company 1.5% or something like that to bridge it. It was like, in the UK with the completion statement. So literally it was a bridge and remortgage. We bought the property at 9 in the morning. The bank, once we owned it, the remortgage kicked in straight away, and we had the remortgage funds in our bank account by 9:30, and it was being done by a lawyer I was working with at the time. And he saw this process, and he was like, I can't believe that guy just earned 1.5% on however many with hundreds of thousands for lending you the money for 30 minutes. I was like, yeah, that's how it works. And he goes, hey, listen, next time you want to do one of these, I'll lend you the money. I'll charge you 0.5. You see, you don't know who's watching. You don't know who's watching. So after that, all of my bridging funds came from my lawyer. Because people are just walking past you. But you're not going, excuse me, can I just have hey, can I have 5 minutes of your time? I just really want to picture this. No, you're just doing what you're doing. And he saw me do this, get the bridge, get the mortgage monies dropped in my bank account, repay the bridging finance with its interest in 30 minutes. And when he saw me achieve that, deliver those results, he was like, I'd do that for 0.5%. So he did. That is the power of attraction when you deliver the results. Take them to the moon and back. If you can. And if you can't, there's loads of places you can learn to at least get them off the ground. A lot of places you can go to learn to at least get them off the ground, man. Like, airplane height, just around the atmosphere, something. You do as best as you can. You'll get better. In the same way in business, offer 10% and return and a return within 12 months and deliver, 12, 14, 15, whatever you can, and return it in less time and deliver those results. And all of a sudden, you've gone from begging people for dates, for sex, for attraction, for relationships, to them being attracted to wanting to be with you. And you've gone, most importantly in business, from begging people for business, for their money, for sales, and more importantly for investment. You've gone from begging them for those things to them being attracted to you and what you're doing and just offering it to you. So there you go. This has been Business Brain. It's been a long one for me, but two topics that I'm so interested in, that I was happy to do this. Now, it's really funny. I have a quote that I end this with, so I'm probably going to put it on a podcast, so I'll cut and paste it from another one. But this is live. Well, not live, but this is being recorded. So I can't remember, but it goes something along the lines of this. Business isn't about tricking people or cheating anybody. Business is about giving great value so that you can genuinely earn the money that you earn deservedly. And as such, here's to our business success. It's written much better than that, but I really can't find the index card I wrote it on, but that is really what it is to me. I wrote that because that's what I think it is. I've been around a lot of con men and crooks and shysters, not intentionally, normally because when business was so bad out here in the recession, they would advertise jobs and swear blind at the interviews that these jobs were legitimate, and you'd start working for them within a couple of months' time. You'd find out that the whole thing was a scam, it was a blag, and you were on the telephone selling land banking, and it was all bullshit, But at the time, they were interviewing because they wanted genuine people, because it was much better to have genuine people who genuinely thought they were doing something real than people who knew it was a scam. So I don't know why, but I guess I can see why. My point being, I've seen all that, and I really know that business is really about genuinely giving value to other people, having people achieve what they want, and then being paid for that and earning and deserving that money. And once that's what you're doing, then, your business success is deserved, in my opinion. And if that's what you're doing and you deserve that success, then clink, clink, cheers. Cheers to yours and cheers to my business success. So this has been Business Brain, Instagram to Go to Papa Lifestyle Podcast. Cheers to your business success. Thank you for listening, and I'm out.
I love money, money loves me. I love money, money loves me. I love money, money loves me. 1, 2, 3, do the math. I love money, money loves me. I love money, money loves me. I love money, money loves me. 1, 2, 3, do the math.